And unfortunately, I don't know the crew that was here from Polk, but I wanted to thank all of them. They did an amazing job because it was a mess, and it was very scary. None of the houses, none of the structures right through there were touched.
Thank
So
you.
I'd like to thank them.
Us. All righty. Item number one, ask Terry, uh, come up for road department equipment needs.
I think, I'm hoping all y'all have a copy of the list that I provided, I hope.
Duke?
It's pretty basic. All I asked is maybe y'all, asked any questions. If it wasn't a need, I wouldn't be here. Uh, so with that being said, I'll take open questions to anybody that may have any.
What kind of tandem dump trucks are you looking at buying, Terry?
The cheapest version we found is international models. This, of course, this went down originally from what I first quoted. But with the help of some people, found a cheaper version. Not specific to a brand, I'm specific to, needing the resources to work with. So,
Well, it's an international, even though it's cheaper. Is that the way you want to go? Because it is the cheap end of the dump trucks.
well, I feel confident. Really, what's most important to me is drivetrain. And it seems, with the drivetrain that the internationals have is very reputable, from everybody that I've talked to and discussed about kind of the reviews on drivetrain. That's really the most important part to me is cosmetics or any of those things doesn't really affect, day-to-day work.
And these trucks will be mainly used from the quarry back to the road department, or do you
Throughout.
go from the quarry to directly to the road with them?
There's three different dynamics. We can come from the quarry to a on-site road to utilize the material off of them. We can haul the shop for stockpile, or I've got two of my trucks set up to pull tractors around with to make them more versatile. A lot of times we can take a tractor to a job site, unhook it and use it because the resources I have are limited. So I've got to make the best of every piece of machinery I have. So,
Well, you got 4 tandems right now. What's your plans with those?
to keep two of the newest models are 2014s, is to keep those. The two that I would like to replace are 2000 model and 2003 models. And
What you want to keep?
The 2014 trucks, the newest trucks in my fleet.
Are they both 2014?
Yes, sir.
And what are they?
They're Max.
Mack trucks?
Yes, sir.
Did you price a Mack this time?
No, sir, I didn't. I'll be honest with you, I didn't put a lot of leadway. I just tried to find something pretty quick to try to get it before the board. Some of
You
the,
feel like you need to get it before the board pretty quick?
sir,
Why did you feel like you need to get
well, I'll
it
be
before-
perfectly honest with you, Mr. Tarpley. I've been talking to the chairman and some others along the way. It's not just become a need. It's been a need, perfectly honest with you, but
But why now? You said you wanted to get it before the board. You didn't go,
well,
you didn't look at your Mack trucks and, they're reputable. You got 2 of them. You give me the internationals but what concerns me is the fact that you just didn't have much lead time.
Well,
You
no,
wanted
that's
to
not
get
the point.
numbers before the board before while you could. And I just want to know who gave you a short lead time?
Nobody gave me a short lead time, David. What I was doing is kind of looking throughout the year, looking at my repair and maintenance. And I reflected that it's become a problem, and in order for me to stay within the line items that the Board of Commissioners set for me in repair and maintenance, there's some big ticket items that I can be looking for potentially a month or two down the road. And I'm talking $10,000 to $20,000 ticket items, which I don't think makes good business sense to pour into a truck that's don't have that much value into them. So
Well-
if there's any urgency on my part, it's just trying to be a good steward of taxpayers' money and not going over. So the board has to deal with that. But I've kind of been watching it for 6 to 9 months early on in this budget, looking at repair and maintenance budget, and it's slowly getting out of hand. So that was my urgency, either I got to contemplate either going over on a line item and putting bad money in a truck, in my opinion, that I'm not going to be able to recoup. Those two trucks that's in question was 2 trucks that was bought and wasn't used for their purpose, if you want to know the truth. But I've utilized them to the point where I've about got the good out of them. You know, they were originally bought, and they were put on a landfill project that the Board of Commissioners voted to do with a on-road truck. So if anybody's in the construction field knows that those type trucks is not utilized on a 1 million-yard dirt haul. You know, I mean, they're made to dump, they're made to transport material, but they're not made to put on a on-job site of 1 million yards of dirt. And to be honest with you, they was just demolished at that point in time, and they have been a continued burden throughout. When we first started, I don't know, 4 years ago with the fleet rotation idea, those 2 trucks and on one large piece of equipment was next on my need list. But I'll be honest with you, I got limited funding to deal with. So what do? Do I just go over budget on the line items and just pour money into a bad situation? Or do I bring it to the board and ask for an upgrade? And that was
How'd
my
you
job.
find out that money was available for you to,
I don't know that any money's available, Mr. David. I really don't. I just, as a department head, you know, I have to bring it before the Board of Commissioners at the needs. You know, if I'm to give a service to the people of the county, it's my responsibility to bring it to the board.
it is, but it's quite odd. Last month, we got a sheet of paper from the 3 departments we're gonna talk about tonight, and yours being one of them, where the request was $1.2 million per department.
No, sir, I've not heard
And
anything
then
else, David.
it seemed to get back to y'all through the grapevine that was just too much to ask for. And then I get a report last week that said, now we want $600,000 per department. And there was no, at that time, there was zero backup to what that $600,000 was going to buy. And I think this was coming, correct me if I'm wrong, this was coming, being generated from Commissioner Ellsbury. I do believe you were the one sending them out, because when I talked to Chairman Walker about it yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he didn't know any more about these purchases than what these sheets of paper had to say. He didn't know what kind of trucks we're buying, what kind of tractor we're buying. He didn't know anything about the cars. He didn't know anything about anything. He hadn't asked any questions to any department head. And he just said, well, I got this from Ellsbury. I got this from Ellsbury. Well, all right. So in less than 60 days, we have gone from everybody needing equipment because they hear there might be a rainbow somewhere and they want to get their hands in it ASAP. And the timing of this is nothing more than political grandstanding.
All right, I'm David, that's enough here.
You can go
Last
ahead if
time,
you want to.
yeah, I'm gonna go right ahead.
Go right
last
ahead.
time we were
You're
here-
interrupting me though right now.
Last time we were here, it brought up, you said you didn't know where any of this money came from. It was talked about at the last meeting with the police cars for $1.2 million.
Oh,
Well,
Yes, it was.
yes, it was. Please check the minutes.
Absolutely.
and we said it was too much.
No, that's not what we said at all. We asked,
But then the
Mr.
phone call
Alstamy.
that I got the next day, you agreed to do 600,000 for
No, I
3
didn't.
years.
Mr. Alton Stamey came
No, I
with us.
didn't.
Mr.
I
Al-
agreed to 500,000. Eddie was the one that was at 6.
So we had $1.2 million following the last meeting that was discussed for
Get your
Sheriff's
story
Department.
straight before you talk.
$1.2 million
I'm fixing
for
to
Sheriff's
straighten you out,
Department
but I'm
cars.
being respectful to
Hold
you,
on.
But I'm fixing to not be
Hold
respectful.
on, Danny, if you don't mind. We talked about the $1.2 million the last time for the sheriff's deputy, for the deputy vehicles. That was going to buy 16 vehicles. We asked Alton Stamey if he would requote us that and get the absolute cheapest price that he could get us. He told us, yes, he would do that, and he would bring that back to us, or somebody from the department would have us some numbers before this. After that meeting, I've spoken with David as well as Terry about the needs of the road department, because Terry and I have talked at different instances in the past about the need for that department, because that department, not anybody's fault, but often does get overlooked because there's other pressing issues that arise. But that is something that's been a need. We were talking about reallocating the 1.2. So Terry and the sheriff's department was kind enough to say, hey, we don't need all 1.2 million right now. We will rework the figures and do $600,000 roughly. And Terry was agreeable to for $600,000 so he can get some much needed help. And I know there's going to be some requests from the fire department here. So if you want to sit here and tell me that taking care of our road department, our fire department, our police, our sheriff's department, other ones is political, then yes, this is absolutely political. But this is something that's been coming for a long time. We have the funds in SPOS to do that. As I've been telling you for beyond just a month now, going back 6 months or a year, the government complex that has been talked about is a pipe dream. It is a pipe dream for the $25 million that's been set aside.
And what was that statement about our complex?
The government complex that has been discussed, the courthouse that's been discussed, I have tried to tell y'all as my fellow commissioners for a year that $25 million is not going to scratch the surface of it.
I'm not saying $25 million will.
That was what was set aside in the SPOS for that project.
Okay, but
And so
we
what
didn't
we've
say
talked
that it would cover it. But I'm gonna tell you something you may not be remembering. There were 5 cities in this county
Mm-hmm.
that gave up their splosh money, their sales tax dollars, for 2 solid years. No city in this county is getting any splosh money except for this county. Tallapoosa gave it up, Waco gave it up, Buchanan gave it up, Bremen gave it up. What did they give it up for? They gave it up for their contribution to the new government complex.
So let's
Not
talk to those
not
mayors that are
to go
here.
buy fire trucks, sheriff's cars, and tractors.
But we're
Now,
gonna
now,
shut the
now, let
county.
me ask y'all something. Let me
You're
ask.
gonna
no, hold
interrupt-
on a
Can
minute.
I
I'm
speak
not-
for just a
let me-
second?
Yeah, when I
Can
get
I
there-
defend myself?
let me ask you this question. If we did not have that pot of money coming into this office right now, if we didn't have that splash
right.
money that the cities have dedicated to us for our government complex, where would we be talking about tonight as to where we're gonna get that money from? What pot are we gonna get it from? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves. We don't need to be robbing the piggy bank that's being a gift from the cities for us to do a countywide project for all of our benefit. But what are we doing? We're gonna steal it from the cities and we're gonna put it in government. And how would we pay for it if you did not have that money?
I don't know about
And I-
you, but when I ran for office, nobody asked me. When I asked people for their vote, they didn't ask me if I was going to get a government complex in Haralson County. They asked me, am I going to get my roads paved? Am I going to make sure the sheriff, the fire department, and other entities have what the money that they need? And I think every single one of these mayors in our county would be much more amenable to helping fix our roads, put money in the road department, make sure the sheriff has what he needs and the fire department, because as far as I'm concerned, all those entities, they serve the county just as much as any government complex, and quite frankly, a heck of a lot more.
Boy, that's amazing coming from an attorney, but not surprising either. So,
I don't know what that means, but
we are robbing from the cities. And if I was the cities, I would never trust us again as long as I lived.
All right.
We've got 2 mayors sitting here right
Two
now,
mayors.
David. And I would like to address the mayors that's being, would you shut your city down when you're going to collect SPOS to take care of your city? Okay, that SPOS that the citizens vote on, it does not say anything about a government complex. It is to take care of the departments and the county or the city. If your city was falling down and you had to use that money that was set aside only for that project, and you took a small piece of that, we're talking about taking a small piece of this complex money and redesignate it to keep our departments flowing correctly, taking care of our citizens, taking care of our departments, taking care of our employees. I'm asking you.
That's not how
I didn't disrespect you. Please don't disrespect
I
me.
thought you were through.
I'm asking the 2 sitting mayors right here, right now. How would you respond to that?
Please, sir.
Afternoon, Commission. Thank you for having me here. My total opinion is when this was set up for the money to go to the county, that was before my time. I don't think either one of us would have agreed to that back then. And we're not going to agree to it again in the new splost. We don't. But as you said, Commissioner Farmer, the complex is an unattainable project at this moment.
Of course not.
Yes, it is. I'm in the business. $25 million for a government complex won't scratch the dirt.
I didn't say 25 will do it. And
I know,
let's
but-
get off the 25
All right,
million.
but that money set aside, I understand that, but if I was in this situation where I could straighten my budget out, and it will help every city here for fire, for maintenance, and for police, yes, I would do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if I could just have a quick second, I want to go over ordinance, SEC 2-61 that has been in effect since April 7th of 2015. And it's about the decorum of board members. Section 8 says all members of the Board of Commissioners must conduct themselves in a professional and respectful manner. All remarks should be directed to the chair and not to individual commissioners, staff, or citizens in attendance. Personal remarks are inappropriate. A commissioner may not speak at a meeting until he has been recognized by the chair. And all comments made by a commissioner shall address the motion that is being discussed. The chair shall enforce these rules of decorum, and if a commissioner believes that a rule has been broken, he can raise a point of order. A second is not required. The chair can rule on the question, or the board can debate the issue and decide by majority vote. So I just want to remind the board that I am in charge of enforcing the ordinances, and so far we've got some violations, so we need to get back in order. If y'all like a copy of this, I'll be more than happy to give it to you.
Thank you, Marshall. Terry, thank you for coming forward. Your discussion is ended at this time. Well, oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. Come up, and then it will be.
When this agreement was made, I had nothing to do with any kind of politics. So anyway, from what I read, it says that it's up to the judgment of the commissioners as to that money going to the county for county projects. So all I can do is rely on you guys to make the right decision. So that's where we stand in Buchanan. Now, we are out of splash money, I'll tell you that. We're down to nothing, and we'll have nothing until next year. So if we have some infrastructure issues, I'm gonna call on Big Brother, and you guys are Big Brother. So I expect some response if we do get into some issues, because I don't want to have to go borrow money for the city of Buchanan. So you just remember us when that time comes, if it comes.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Item number 2 is the fire department. Like for Lieutenant Zane and Chief Tops come up. What I want to remind this board, they contacted me on 4/9 of this month. They were doing pump testing. They had another truck to go down. They were in need of trucks, and they have found a new truck for a very reasonable price. And all 5 board members were contacted by one or the other, and it was brought back to me that with a 5-0 vote to go ahead and tell them to get a PO.
Who contacted me? What commissioner called me? I don't know. First thing I saw, this was it came in my own email where the chairman had signed a contract on 4/10, and that is above his, he only has a $20,000 limit. No one called me about it. Did anybody vouch that they did? No, you can't, because you didn't. So.
Marshall, do we got to ask
The
to speak?
contract is invalid. Marshall.
So at this time, fire.
It would just have to direct your questions or your statements to the chair of the
Hey,
board.
Chairman,
Okay.
I'd like to direct.
I gotta say that
You- you have
let
a
me say,
contract.
we had 4 of us then, if you wasn't contacted. And so no matter what, it was a census, no matter The same situation had happened months ago with the road. They had an opportunity on a vehicle, and there was three of us contacted. Terry contacted us, and we had a census, and then we proceeded at the next meeting to vote through this. At this time, the fire department's on share what they've come up with, and y'all have this in your hands. And if it don't vote, guess what? They'll call and tell them cancel the order. But they got to have a fire truck, and they need a few more, and that's the way it is. So, Lieutenant.
Thank y'all for having me. So we are looking at a Spencer truck, able to purchase it here locally through Bracket Fire and Apparatus. We are looking at the total price of this truck, 475,000 plus a 50,000 contingency fund to help outfit this truck. We're not just in a position to need trucks, we're in a position to need equipment. And I cannot stress this enough. We had another truck blow a head gasket today. We are out of reserve trucks. If we do not buy a truck, we're going to have to put a close sign in front of a fire station. I don't care which one, but we're going to have to. So we're asking, I know we've already got a signed contract. We're asking for y'all to vote on this. I've priced countless trucks. We're able to buy this truck at a little bit of a discounted rate just due to having, doing a lot of research, being able to reach out to some people that had a couple of excess stock trucks. So we're able to buy this truck for about $60,000 below MSRP.
Thank you. And I can see this is a very good price to be equipped. I mean, this is
This is everything except for the air packs. But fire truck dealers do not deal air packs.
all right.
Is Spencer excuse me, Chairman, may I ask a
Yes,
question?
go ahead.
Is Spencer the brand of the,
So when it comes to fire trucks, you have three components. You have the chassis, the pump, and the body. So Spencer is who designed the body of this truck. The chassis is a Freightliner.
Freightliner? Okay,
We have
that's what I
chose
was-
to hopefully only move forward with Freightliners for a couple of reasons. One being we just had the new Peach State dealership in Villa Rica be built. They can do all of our warranty work, which if any of you know, historically, we've always had to transfer our trucks to Winder, Forsyth, Warner Robins for warranty work, which puts a huge strain on a minimally staffed department like ours. We have to move trucks 2 and 3 hours away. It becomes a big problem. And then the pump is made by Hale. It's a 1500 GPM pump, standard. It's what we run.
What's the time frame to get this?
We will actually be in possession of this truck in less than 3 weeks. This is one of the few, there's not many trucks in the country you can get your hands on that fast. We are looking at, possibly, this isn't going to be the last truck we need, but we are looking at a 8 to 12% increase on these chassis starting in August. So
Thank
we
you.
will not get one this cheap again.
Any other questions?
Yes, I do. Go ahead. Counselor, is it okay that the CEO signs a, contract well exceeding his limits without having a board meeting calling for that vote?
It's not typically what's done, but if the board
Because
votes
it
it,
is in our ordinance
if the
on
board-
emergency, if it's an emergency, it can be done.
right. And if the board votes and approves it tonight and ratifies it, then
Do what, sir?
if the board approves it and ratifies it tonight, then it will be valid and effective. Yeah.
But it's not the normal way of doing business.
Not unless it's an emergency, like you mentioned.
And I wouldn't count this as an emergency.
Guys, was this an
With all due
emergency?
respect, sir, I would absolutely count this as an
We
emergency.
got five fire trucks sitting at one fire station that are broke down.
But, you know, we could have had a meeting in 24 hours and, instead, one person decided that he has a right to go on and sign. He can call us anytime and we can have a meeting, but,
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes. Come to the podium.
My name is Lee Ray, 876 Cherokee Lane. I have sit here for over 2 years with a divider between y'all. Y'all are more like the parents of this county, and you, Mr. Tarpley, you got evidence that you go out and you purposely start stuff. This stuff you're talking about needs to be behind closed doors. And even at that, it's a 4-1 vote. You're not that special. So let this stuff get done. You don't remember it, so I don't have to remember it, okay?
I will say that you don't need to talk
You don't
directly
need-
to a specific commissioner, and your
Yeah,
comment should be directed to the chairman
Thank
as
you.
well.
Lieutenant, the
Yes, sir.
funding for this SPOS reallocate or reallocation SPOS dollars, is that how y'all?
Yes, sir. I'm not, with all due respect, it's not my job to figure out how it gets funded. I'm just showing y'all a need, however y'all choose to fund it, or if you can't fund it. I mean, we understand. This is for the last couple of months, we've heard that the Board of Commissioners doesn't know the things we need. So this is us bringing those things forward. We want to work with you guys, not against y'all.
I guess I should have probably directed that to Ryan, but I mean, would that be what y'all would be requesting to the extent would be SPOS?
However we can
funds?
get it.
Okay.
And I'm not anti-fire department, guys. I'm not anti-road department, but I'm just telling you, what upsets me the most, the only thing that upsets me is where we're getting the money. And where would we get the money if we didn't have the gracious kindness of the cities giving us their sales tax dollars each and every month? I know the cities are the ones that need to be thanked for what they're doing. They're giving us this equipment on their backs, on the fact that they can't pave roads, they can't buy trucks, they can't do all the things that we're doing with Splosh because they elected to give it all to the county. And that's what chaps me. I hate that someone makes a gracious, gift to allow us to do something, to have a large amount of money to go towards a county-wide project, and then we sit here and rob it. That bothers me. It's not against y'all. We just need to find another place to get it from.
All righty. Thank y'all guys for coming up. Any
Very
other
good.
questions? from these-
Anything else?
Thank
y'all
you.
for having us.
All right, thank you. At this time, I would tell you the next will be the sheriff's vehicles. We have heard this presentation 2 or 3 times. We have all the paperwork in front of us. I can tell you that they are still pricing cars from Dodge from local, and they have come down $300 more lower than the other. And I can tell you that we will shop local before going outside the county if they have the best price. That's the way we've always operated. And
Sorry, go ahead.
and so at this time, this is the paperwork from the sheriff's office. And I know you have maybe a little bit more information, Danny, but I do know that the local Dodge dealer has come down $300 lower than the other Dodge dealer. And so that's where we're at right now. And
Chairman, can I speak?
you can, sir.
Deputy Chandler called me. They're in class in, somewhere anyway. And he had got the price down a little bit more on the sheet that y'all have that Miss Julia has printed out. The figures, the bottom total figure has come down an additional $3,800. And the 2,000 some odd dollars, he's got his additional money that he's going to use that went over what was asked.
All right.
Right here, this sheet here, the total number here, where it says total, that number will come down an additional 3,800,
Okay.
which made it 602.
Vehicles?
Yes.
Is the roll up any of them the same cost, even though we're going with a different?
Yeah, that includes the.
Okay.
All right.
And he's going to cover the overage.
Okay.
So.
All righty. Can I ask the commissioners, do they have any more questions? Okay, go
I'd
ahead.
I'd like to say that if we can, for $300, I don't care if we're $300 cheaper or $300 higher, if we can buy from somebody in this county that spends a lot of tax money in this county, I think we need to buy from them if we can.
I do
If, you
agree.
know, I
But they-
hate to go all the way to Cleveland, Georgia to buy something when we can go right here to Bremen and buy it in,
And they do have a 7%. They can be 7% higher
Yes.
in the county. So
And I-
it all fits
I
the,
was hoping somebody from the sheriff's department would be here so we could,
But
reiterate that to them.
that will
But
be,
if we
yes.
can, I would like to do that.
But just to be, these are $300 cheaper.
Well,
These ones.
I think, Danny's, through Jackie Jones is 300 cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 300, okay, then
There's $300 difference.
So,
that's all.
I totally agree with you,
But you can't
Commissioner
drive,
Iver.
you can't drive to Cleveland and pick them up. and
No.
bring 'em home for $300.
So, so it looks like the pricing will be local. All right, it is. I mean, that's where it's coming in at. All right. Any other questions? All right. If not, we'll move on to resolution item number 4. The resolution is for the Public Defenders Supervisory Panel.
Yes, we got a request
Counsel?
for the Board of Commissioners to appoint a local attorney to the Public Defender Supervisory Panel. This is a joint decision between Polk County and the Haralson County Board of Commissioners. And I understand that Polk County is in agreement with appointing Brad McFall as the local attorney for the Public Defender Supervisory Council. And I understand that the judges are also agreeable with that.
What was that name again?
Brad McFall.
Where's he from? Polk or Harold?
Cedartown.
Cedartown.
All righty. Does any other commissioners have any questions on that item? All right. Item number 5 is Haralson County Ordinance on Public Participation During a Meeting. This is section 2-62. It allows everyone 3 minutes. Most of the time when someone talks, they are really bumping that 3 or a little bit over. I would like to see us up that to 5 minutes because we really don't enforce it. But with ordinances in place, we are bound to stay to our ordinances. So I would like to ask, and that would be put on our call meeting to up that to 5 minutes. Is any questions on that?
I appreciate you saying that on 5 minutes, and is it still my understanding that we're not gonna have a oven clock going off over there at 5 minutes? Are we gonna be liberal with our citizens as long as they're making progress?
I will say that we need to, if we have a time, we need to enforce the time, and we have to enforce it across the board. And if you don't enforce it, then you have no time limit. So if
We
there's,
can't just enforce it like we did during the landfill. And that was because there was so many people to speak. If we had an agenda such as that, where an item was being spoke, I could understand a 5-minute time limit. But in here, to my recollection, even back during the tax, when we had the taxes thing back in the spring, no one really rant and raved over 5 minutes. But I don't want to become school board and turn them away. This is the people's time to speak. And they deserve the right to speak. And I just don't want us to cut them off. I don't want to tell Mr. Dewberry to go sit down. And that's the wrong thing to do.
well, I'm just saying either you have a time or you don't have a time. And
You
if
have to enforce it.
If we have a time, we should enforce it, yes, or we should say we're not going to have a time. If the board doesn't want to have a time, the board should say we're not going to have a time limit. If the board has a time limit and says we're going to set this as the time limit, then we should enforce that time limit. And we should enforce it across the board to everybody, to be fair.
I know, but in general is what I was speaking of. This is their time. I've been out there. I was out there before I was here. I know how it feels to come in and be cut off. And that's not a good feeling. And I want our residents to be able to speak. As long as progress is being made, they're not being repetitive, they're not being ugly, they're making progress in their conversation. I don't mind listening to them. That's just my wish as one of the board members, but
This is not on the agenda for the special called meeting, so it's certainly open
Okay.
for further discussion if y'all wanted to discuss it.
I hope y'all will think about that. You'll be one out there one day.
Any other comment, suggestions?
I
Does
think
there,
this needs to be made clear, the 5 minutes is not to cut anybody off. It's to ensure that everybody that wants an opportunity to speak has an opportunity to speak. It's not in any way to cut people off or limit. We're not limiting the number of people. We're not limiting what can be said or what cannot be said. It's just to ensure that everybody that wants to speak has an opportunity to speak. And, you know, we're not sitting here listening to one person for 30 minutes and other people get tired and decide, well, I don't have time for this. I got to go do this with kids or whatnot. It's to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to speak.
okay. My question to the board is the census that we will won't up it to 5 minutes and keep it in the ordinance.
No issue with 5 minutes.
All right. It'll be added to the next month's agenda. All right. Okay, item number 6, appointment for the Planning Commission Board. You have the list who is up. At this time, this office has not received any but one or application to go on that board. My understanding, the 3 gentlemen on the board already shows concern, wants to stay on the board. So that's Bill Bozeman, Adam Buddy, and Clayton Lovern. So that's the appointments, or they have stated they would like to stay on the board if we would have.
You said no other applications had been made.
No other applications have been sent into this office. And it is time it is on the called meeting because their terms are up, I think, at end of the week, end of this month. All right. Any questions on that? All right. The last items, number 7, Haralson County Health Care Plan. It's that time of year again. I want to say Brian here has put a lot of time in this. We've heard from our insurance carrier. They have shopped it up, have sent out to 9 different carriers. We had 5 carriers who brought prices back, and they will give all the details of this. And, you know, we are fully funded, so that means that there's always an increase. Last year, there was not an increase. It went down minus 2.3%. We did save money last year, but each year is different. So I'll turn it over to Brian Kay.
Good evening. I recognize that we've spent a lot of time on this, but you've really had no access to this information. So I'm going to spend a few minutes trying to explain everything that we've been dealing with for the last couple months. With me is Todd Hooper. Todd works for NFP. He's our contracted healthcare consultant. So they assist us throughout the year with processing enrollments, ACA compliance. He's also the one that assists us kind of in achieving our county health goals. They support our wellness programming, and when it's time for open enrollment, they actually go out and shop those plans to the different carriers. So his team are very supportive and knowledgeable. If you've got questions for him, he's here for that. Earlier today, I put together a packet of information. It should be what's in front of you now. So I'm going to summarize what our last year looked like from a claims perspective, and then we'll talk about the different plans that we were offered along with the choices that we're recommending today. It's a lot of information, so just bear with me and I can kind of answer your questions at the end. So to start with where we are right now, on page 1 is a graph, and it shows how our claims have looked year over year. You can see that our medical and prescription claims per employee per month for calendar year 2025 are approximately 40% higher than they were for 2024 and 45% higher than they were for 2021, 2022, and 2023. That's a big jump. On page 2, you can see that the cumulative loss ratio broken down by plan year, and you can again see how much higher this fiscal year is running from fiscal year 2024. So we've had a lot of very high claims. Much of this is driven by very large catastrophic claims that are placing substantial pressure on our medical spend. In fact, as a county, we spent over $1.3 million on just 9 medical claims alone. However, if you look at pages 3 and 4, you'll also see that our monthly medical and prescription costs over the trailing 36 months have also doubled over that time. Healthcare utilization is a big problem. 53% of all of our medical visits by county employees, the 175 that are enrolled in our plan, are emergency room visits, which is the highest possible dollar of medical care. There's always going to be medical emergencies, and there's always going to be times where the emergency room is needed or unavoidable. But if you want to control costs, the ideal ratio is you're wanting to see at least 50% of your claims go to your primary care physician, maybe another 30% to your urgent care, and only 20% to your ERs. Right now, the county's doing the opposite. So most of our medical visits are going to our highest possible care provider. This kind of creates the cycle that I kind of put together for you on page 5. And what takes place here is that the employees go through open enrollment at the top. They, because of high deductibles, and tend to underspend on primary care or avoid going to the doctor altogether because they don't want to pay the money out of pocket. And since they're not spending on primary care, they end up overspending on hospital visits, on prescription drugs. That healthcare spend also causes them to do a poor job of disease management, which makes issues when they do go to the doctor more severe than if they had engaged in primary care. So those health spends alone cause employer costs to rise. When the carriers see those rising costs, it negatively impacts our claims ratio. When it's time for reinsurance, the existing carrier takes a loss from the previous year and they want to offset that loss. So they increase, if they want to cover us again, their potential premiums for us because they want to be able to cover that loss. Or they decide we don't want to quote you all. If there's additional carriers on the market that we want to go to, those carriers look at us and say we're a risk and they charge us accordingly, which ultimately causes us to have plans that have higher deductibles and higher premiums. And it's because we try to be budget neutral on our side. So we try to offset the higher costs that the carriers are charging us by pushing it through our plans to our employees, which then puts the employee in a situation where, once again, they're trying to avoid those deductibles. So it kind of creates a bad spiral for us. And that's where we are right now. So with that explanation, where does that leave us? The answer is not a good place. So if you look at page 6, ultimately, this is the summary of the various carriers that we looked at for the coverage there. The current plan cost is at the top. And underneath that are 9 carrier options. A few things to note here. First, 3 of the carriers, Aetna, Cigna, and Veracity, which is a TPA that manages a self-funded model, they thought we were such a bad risk that they refused to even quote us coverage. You can see that ACCG, which is beginning to offer pooled medical coverage, quoted us at an 84% renewal increase. As the chairman stated, last year we were a minus 2.3. This year would be a plus 84 if we utilized ACCG. United Healthcare no longer offers the group health plan that we were covered under this year. They do offer a plan with similar coverage, but that would be a 47% renewal. The bottom option is the ICRA, which is the individual coverage health reimbursement arrangement, which is basically an employer subsidy that allows employees to go into the healthcare marketplace and to shop their own insurance. There was originally some suggestions made last year that rather than offer an employee plan, we just kind of make a lump sum payment to that employee and allow them to go into the marketplace to shop for their own insurance. If we did that independently, based on our population size, our enrolled employees, we'd be looking at a substantial amount of fines, somewhere in the range of $600,000. And that's not even including the subsidy that we would then have to pay. So the solution to get around those fines is to utilize this ICRA option. Unfortunately, there are requirements that have to be met in order for you to keep from being fined. One of those is that you're required to meet the minimum essential coverage levels under the ACA. And it also can't cost any more than a set amount of the employee's gross income. So not to get too far down the rabbit hole on that one, but what you're seeing there for that Ventor offer is what it would cost us to be able to utilize that ICRA, which is that $3,680,000. That's a 91% increase over what our current plan design is. That effectively leaves us with the other options for health coverage. So if you look at page 7, these are really the only options we had to be able to cover us as a county this year. And I broke them down into the spreadsheet. The column that says UHC reduced is the plan that, in the context of the high renewal rates, is one of the cheaper options for the county. There are a few improvements from the current plan in terms of the deductible and the out-of-pocket max. But as you can see in the yellow squares, pretty much every other aspect of that plan trades off those deductible decreases with higher costs for employees and lower medical benefits. It's a worse plan. The third column is that Anthem full. That's the plan that we're proposing that you accept today. If you aren't familiar with Anthem, they utilize the Blue Cross Blue Shield network. This plan is very similar to what we're currently utilizing with United in terms of its benefit levels, and it's cost competitive with the other three on the page. The actual number you're seeing on there is actually a little bit high too. We found out this afternoon that they're going to come in a little bit lower. There's going to be about a 2% reduction on that because we'd be taking the dental and vision with that as well. That fourth column on the sheet I included because I wanted to show you what a level funded plan would look like. As you can see, it's the cheapest option on that paper, and that looks really attractive because there are some improvements over the current plan design, and there is a bit of a cost reduction. But what makes that different from the other Anthem plan is that this one is level funded versus the one that we're recommending, which is fully funded. And I tried to break that down on pages 8 and 9 to kind of show you what that looks like. So the two health spend graphs that you're looking at there are going to be identical, but the way the costs are covered is not identical. So on page 8's a fully funded plan, and it looks like an EKG reading. And regardless of what the highs and lows are, the carrier is fully covering those claims. So they're paying 100% of what those claims are. That green horizontal line is the projected cost. That's what the carrier's charging us when we sign up for our plan, and this is the premiums, this is what it goes to. So every time the graph goes above that line, the claims exceed the premiums paid, and basically the carrier loses money. And every time the graph goes below that line, the premiums go under the claim, and the county loses money. Regardless of who wins or loses, it's all paid by the carrier. On page 9, you see the same scenario, and that's level funding. And in this case, the green line at the bottom is just there for kind of comparison purposes with that previous page. The two colors that matter are the blue line and the orange line. The blue line is the level funded plan costs, and the orange line is what's called the spec amount. So normally the employee pays the claims up until the blue line through their premiums, but in our case, we cover 100% of the premium. So it's actually the county that's paying that. And then the county as well is going to pay the claims up into the orange spec line. After that spec line, a stop loss carrier picks up all of those claims. So all your major claims that exceed that line go to that stop loss carrier. In other words, Haralson pays up to the orange line, stop loss carrier carries everything else. If you've got strong cost controls and we do a good job in how we shop our healthcare and a good claims history, this can really bring a lot of savings to the county because anytime you're underneath that line, you're saving money. But we do not have good cost control, and we do not have a good claims history. And our claims history right now is frequently exceeding that orange line. So what would happen there is we would set a rate throughout the year. At the end of the year, we'd have to reconcile all those expenses, and anytime it jumps above that orange line, at the end of the year, you're paying that extra money. So what you're seeing on that graph that I showed you on page 7 with the level care is not really an accurate end of year number. And there's some other disadvantages to offering that kind of plan as well. There's some PCORI fees that have to be paid. There's a lot of administrative work that we would have to do as an office. And there's also a bunch of ACA compliance issues because basically if you're level funded, you're considered to be self-funded by the government. So there's a lot of other kind of burdensome requirements it puts on you. That being said, we felt like level funded is certainly somewhere we would like to go. The chairman and I have had a lot of discussions about it, but we're not there yet. There needs to be some change kind of in our health behavior as a county, which is something we can kind of work on throughout the year. So that plan, like I said, is discounted 2% by picking up the dental and vision coverage. Those coverage plans are extremely similar to the cost that we're currently paying for dental and vision. You can see that on pages 10 and 11. So we're recommending the Anthem Dental Complete PPO. That's the one I've got the arrow above it, and as well as the Anthem FSB 10, 15, 130, 130 IMED plan. That's the vision plan that's got the arrow above it. We'll continue to offer the New York Life and the accidental death and dismemberment policies that we currently offer. Those are no cost to the employee unless they add voluntary above the $50,000 and $100,000 policies that the county offers them. We also wanted to recommend adding a few new pieces. The first is voluntary short and long-term disability. This is not something we currently offer. That's a voluntary plan, and you can kind of see how that plan works on pages 12 and 13. They're packaged together, so the total cost for those programs are at the bottom of page 13. We would recommend utilizing option 2. This would be an employee-paid program if they chose to sign up for it, so there would be no cost to the county on that. The last piece of information, page 14, I think is the most interesting of all of them. This is something we have never offered before. Obviously, the family and children coverage on our health plan is extremely cost prohibitive.
and it's only going to get worse with this new plan. However, this supplemental coverage piece might help to mitigate some of that problem. What you're looking at on page 14 is a policy offered by Symetra. It's not health insurance coverage. This is an additional program that provides a supplementary benefit, and that benefit is a cash payout if an employee is diagnosed with one of about 13,000 different conditions. So everything as minor as dehydration to as serious as Parkinson's disease can qualify for a cash benefit here. In this case, if the employee was enrolled in Symetra and they broke their finger, they'd receive a $300 payout. It doesn't cover the cost of the expense, but it does help to offset the damage. And the interesting thing about this plan is that you can cover your spouse or children at very little cost, as you can see at the bottom of the page. And thus, if your spouse is not covered by your insurance policy, this will provide them some protection because you can still sign them up for this plan. And it'll provide a little paycheck protection for the employee as well. For instance, if they're out on FMLA and they're injured for some reason or they're sick, they can still qualify for a cash payment even though they're receiving unpaid leave during that time. So it's our recommendation that the county fully fund this cost for each employee covered under the plan. And if the employee wants to add their spouse or children, they would just pay the difference between what the county covers for them as an employee and the added cost of the additional coverage. So at $15.60 per enrolled employee per month, that would cost the county about $32,760. The county currently has an HRA where we're going to write a check for you for $2,250 to any employee who meets their $4,000 deductible. We're doing that now. So in the 2024 to 2025 plan year, that amounted to payments of about $34,500. This year, we're at about $27,000 with a couple of months to go. So those costs relatively offset each other. So if we were to adopt this Symetra plan for every employee and no longer offer the HRA, it's kind of budget neutral when it comes to that. So to summarize, the group health plan is going to run you about $2.5 million. The dental and vision would run about $85,000. The basic life and ADD about $25,000, and then the supplemental Symetra policy, if you put it on every employee, about $35,000. That puts the entire spend package at about $2,645,000. And I would ask, since it's not on the agenda, that you would add this to your special called meeting if we can get a vote on that, because we need to go through open enrollment very quickly if we're going to be ready for that July 1.
You talking about just for the Symetra? Or are you talking about the entire?
You need to improve the whole package, is what I'm looking for.
Package would be under financials,
But I'm here to chat if you guys want to talk about it, and Todd's here as well.
Is it?
You know, do you happen to, off the top of your head, do you happen to know the total amount of claims that we had as a county? Would you know that by any chance?
You're wanting to know the total claims we've had for this year, because we've still got 2 more months and some runoff on top of that.
I'd like to know money wise.
I don't know if I have that information. Do you have that in front of you? We were running about 180% of what our loss ratio was supposed to be. And our loss ratio was going to be set at 1.9 million. So we're running at about 2,700,000, I would say somewhere in that range. One of the problems with healthcare is that you're not just dealing with the current, it's going to continue to trail out for any expenses someone's accrued now just because of the delays in medical billing. So that could be a much higher number than it looks like right now.
Does it create any issues for you, Brian, or for the county if we were to vote on this at the May meeting?
We need to be able to hopefully do open enrollment from May 19th to 20th. That's our current goal. But for that to happen, there's a lot of setup behind the scenes that's going to have to happen. I know I'm asking you for $2 million on a dime and you're not having any opportunity to look at this. So I get where your concern is.
Is it May 2nd? Is that our first meeting?
We would
in
need
May?
to do this pretty quickly.
May 5th, is that Tuesday? I mean, I know it's only 2
If
weeks.
it's not
but
something you can do right now, I get it, but as quickly as you can vote on something, we need to be able to tell our consultants so that they can prepare the work necessary to get this done.
I'll follow the pleasure of the board, but I'd, if we could just have a little bit of time to discuss this between now and May, or if we need to do something before then. But I mean, whatever the board would like to do.
Other questions I can answer for you now, possibly? Dang, that was a lot of information. Okay.
So much.
Thank you. Every year, and we're right on this last year on this time period. It's just the preparation of us voting this, so they can prepare all the stuff and for May 19th.
Let me ask Garrick on this one. How does this play into our current budget and the future projection for the next fiscal year?
$538,000. That's over in your budget for group health insurance, right?
To make up the difference for what the increase for the next one appears to be. I mean, if that's, I mean, I don't know what y'all's thought on it, Eddie.
I'm good.
If that's what it's showing and we have,
That's what it's showing.
that's fine. Okay. If y'all want to add that to the meeting, I'm fine with that.
All right. Okay. Thank y'all. Any other questions? All righty. That was the last item on our work session. At this time, we will go to our to a called meeting. At this time, I'd like to call it to order. If everybody please stand for invocation. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you. Thank you, God, for this night. Thank you, God, for this day given us, God. We just ask you, God, for wisdom, knowledge throughout all of our decisions, God, and give us so we make the right decisions for all of our county employees, our citizens, God, to serve them in an almighty way. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have a waiving the minutes of the reading of the minutes?
We waive the reading of the previous minutes.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Show of hand. Motion carries. I have approval of the, hang on.
To add.
We got to add, on item number 6, be adding the voting of the Anthem insurance plan.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended.
All right. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Show raise a hand. Motion carries. All righty. Public participation? None. All right. Item number 1, bring to the board. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the road department's equipment for $600,000?
Make a motion, we approve the road department's request, and just be very clear that this is SPOS dollars that are being reallocated to fund that.
Second.
A motion and got a second. All in favor, raise a hand. Oppose? Motion carries. Number 2, fire department equipment needs. Do I have a motion and a second for $600,000 to be assigned to the fire department?
Like same motion as the last time with the understanding those are again being funded through SPOS dollars that are being reallocated.
And I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Right now. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, sheriff's vehicles vote for $600,000. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the sheriff's vehicle purchase again funded through SPOS dollars being reallocated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? of motion? All opposed? Motion carries. The resolution for the public defender supervisor panel. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we appoint or approve Brad McFall to the public defender panel.
All right, I have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Show of right hand. Motion carries. Item number 5, appointment for the 3 commission, planning commission board members as read in the meeting, the 3 that's on it, Bill Bozeman, Adam Buddy, and Clay Lovern. Do I have a motion for these three to stay on the board?
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Bill Bozeman, Adam Buddy, and Clayton Lovern to the,
Planning.
Planning and Zoning Board.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise a hand. Motion carries. Number 6, do I have a motion to approve the Anthem insurance plan for the county employees?
Real quick, before we get a motion on that, Garrick, and do you mind just saying exactly what you just said in the microphone? Just, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, just so that everybody that's watching can hear that and know where the money's coming from.
Okay, here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So our current year-to-date actual insurance, group insurance is 1,322,000. Our approved budget is 2,176,000, which leaves us a balance of 853 currently. We still have another 19% to go, which is going to be about 314,000, which would leave us a balance of 538,861.
Thank you. All right. Make a motion.
I can make a
Okay.
motion,
Or have a motion for the Anthem insurance plan for county employees.
make a motion that we approve the employee health insurance package that was recommended by the HR director.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Raise your hand. Motion passed. Any participation on non-agenda? No, thanks. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Stand adjourned.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Stand to your feet. Thank everyone for coming out tonight.
It's here to make a motion.